Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel Sparkle English, where I teach you how to improve your level of English. This is a new video in my English Grammar Essentials series. If you want more videos on how to improve your English grammar, click on the links in the description below to watch my other playlists. So in today's lesson, I'm going to teach you all about contractions. We're going to talk about different types of contractions and the most common contractions in English. So let's get started. So what are contractions? Well, contractions are words that are formed by combining two words and merging them together. We do this by removing one or more letters and replacing them with an apostrophe. We use contractions to make speech and writing more informal and conversational. Contractions are often used in spoken language, but they can also be used in written language to give a more casual tone. However, contractions are not commonly used in formal writing, for example, if you're writing an essay. So for example, the contraction for do not is don't. The contraction for you are is your. Not becomes isn't. Let us becomes let's. These are all very common contractions in English. Let's go into more detail about types of contractions. So, a very common type of contraction is subject pronoun plus verb. So in English, subject pronouns, I, you, he, she, it, we, they, can be contracted with the verb to be. Am, are, is, to form shorter, informal versions of the phrase. So, I am becomes I'm. You are becomes you're. He is, he's. She is, she's. It is, it's. We are, we're. They are, they're. We can also combine the subject pronoun with will and form contractions. I will, I'll. You will, you'll. He will, he'll. She will, she'll. It will, it'll. We will, we'll. They will, they'll. And also with would. I would, I'd. You would, you'd. He would, he'd. She would, she'd. It would, it'd. We would, we'd. They would, they'd. Now, in English, you can also make a contraction with someone's name. For example, Mom is coming to my house. We can say Mom's coming to my house. And Mom's is a contraction of Mom is. The exception would be, let's say we're talking about Bob and Joe. Bob and Joe are coming to my house. In English, we would not say Bob and Joe are. Bob and Joe are would look very strange, and this would not be common. So usually we only add apostrophe S or make a contraction if it's third person singular. Now let's look at the subject pronoun plus the verb have, and this is a very important lesson. So I have becomes I've. You have becomes you've. He has, he's. She has, she's. It has, its. We have, we've. They have, they've. So let's look at these examples. I've got 2 dogs. This is the contraction for I have got 2 dogs. And this is how we would say it in the UK. I've got 2 dogs. She's got a boyfriend. She's got is a contraction for she has got a boyfriend. However, in the United States and in Canada, we typically say I have 2 dogs when we're talking about possession. It's more typical for us to say I have than I have got when we are talking about possession in North America. And we do not form the contraction, I've 2 dogs, when we're talking about possession. So in the UK, you can say, I've got 2 dogs. But in the United States and Canada, we would say, I have 2 dogs, and not, I've 2 dogs. Here's another example. In the United States and in Canada, we would say, she has a boyfriend, but we would not say, she's a boyfriend. So when would we use these contractions in North America? I've, you've, he's, she's, it's, we've, and they've, with the verb have. Well, we would use them when we are combining them with the past participle. For example, in the present perfect or the present perfect continuous. For example, I have been to Paris, or I've been to Paris. So here we are using the present perfect tense, and we have the past participle, and we form the present perfect with have or has plus the past participle. So in this case, we can use a contraction. I have been to Paris. I've been to Paris. She has performed on stage, or she's performed on stage. You also have to look at the context of the sentence to determine what the contraction stands for. For example, she's tired. This clearly means she is tired. It wouldn't make sense, she has tired. But if we said, she's got a dog, well, this clearly means she has got a dog, not she is got a dog. So it's important to pay attention to the words around the contraction. Now let's talk about interrogative adverbs. We can combine interrogative adverbs and verbs to create contractions. Common interrogative adverbs include when, where, why, how, who, and what. So, for example, when is becomes whens. Where is becomes wheres. Why is becomes whys. How is becomes hows. Who is becomes whose. What is becomes what's. For example, when is your birthday, or when's your birthday? How is it going, or how's it going? What is your name, or what's your name? Now you might wonder, what happens if we have a sentence like this? When are we going? Can we say, when are we going? This is not very common. When we're speaking in spoken English, we might say when'er, why'er, who'er, but to write it out, it doesn't look very good. It's not as common as it is with apostrophe S. So I would not recommend forming contractions with interrogative adverbs plus R. It's not very common and it looks very informal. We can also form contractions with a verb plus not. So we can create negative contractions by combining a verb and the word not. For example, do not becomes don't. Does not becomes doesn't. Is not becomes isn't. Are not becomes aren't. Has not becomes hasn't. Have not becomes haven't. Will not becomes won't. So this is very important because we don't say willn't in English. You have to write won't when you're forming a negative contraction. So it's irregular. Should not becomes shouldn't. Would not becomes wouldn't. Let's look at some sentence examples. I do not agree with you, or I don't agree with you. You are not a good friend, or you aren't a good friend. she will not come tonight, or she won't come tonight. Never write willn't. Willn't is not a word. Okay, so now we're going to do a contractions quiz. You have to write the full form of the contraction in each sentence. So read each sentence carefully and try to think if you can spot the contraction in the sentence and what it stands for. Number 1, he's been busy all day. Number 2, she isn't willing to help us with this project. Number 3, what's your problem? Number 4, I'd like to come on the hiking trip tomorrow. Number 5, Jane's bringing her cat on the plane. Number 6, Lauren's dog is really cute. It's very playful. Number 7, I've got $20 in my bank account. And finally, number 8, you mustn't listen to him. He doesn't have your best interest at heart. So in number 1, we have one contraction, he's. And this is a contraction for he has, not he is. He has been busy all day. This is the present perfect. Number 2, we have the contraction isn't. This is a contraction for is not. Number 3, what's your problem? What's is a contraction for what is. Number 4, I'd. I'd is a contraction for I would. Number 5, Jane's. Jane's is a contraction for Jane is. Jane is bringing her cat. Now number 6 only has one contraction. It's. It is very playful. Lauren's is not a contraction. Lauren's dog is really cute. Lauren apostrophe S is different from sentence 5 because this is possessive. We're talking about the dog that belongs to Lauren. We are not forming a contraction to write Lauren is dog is really cute. That doesn't make any sense. So Lauren's is a possessive noun. It is not a contraction. Number 7, we have the contraction I've got $20. And that is a contraction for I have got $20. And finally, in number 8, we have two contractions. Mustn't, and mustn't is a contraction for must not. And doesn't is a contraction for does not. Okay, so let me know in the comments section how many you got correct out of 8 on this quiz on contractions. I would like to do another quiz on contractions because I know this can be a difficult topic. Let me know if you had any problems with this quiz or if you have any questions about contractions. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one, and I will see you in my next English lesson.